They're a threat, but they're outside of my top tier of Western Conference contenders. There's some good things going for them. They've got a top 5 defense. When Kawhi has been healthy, I know you said 6-2 with Paul George. They're 7-2 with Kawhi in the lineup. Their offense is a bottom 3 offense in the league. And on paper, this team should be much better on that end of the floor. But I view them outside of the top 3.
Okay.
And my top 3 is the Memphis Grizzlies, in no particular order, New Orleans Pelicans, and still the Golden State Warriors, despite their record so far.
Okay.
I want to know your sort of top 3 most legitimate contenders to win the Western Conference.
I would tell you this. I don't disagree with your top 3. I've got New Orleans. I started the season 4 games play. I like New Orleans probably going to the Western Conference Finals. I believe in this kid. I believe in this team. They got some young therapists. They got athletes. Zion Williamson is a monster. You got experience and leadership in C.J. McCollum. And listen, a lot of time has not been spent with Brandon Ingram. Wait till he comes back. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. And I say New Orleans is a big bona fide threat. Memphis, you can't sleep on them as well. Here's my thing. One of them is coming out if the Clippers are healthy. See, my problem is I can't trust the Clippers to be there. I can't trust that Kawhi Leonard is going to play the games. I can't trust that Paul George, more so Kawhi Leonard than Paul George. But I can't trust that I can rely on both of them to be on the court for each game because I believe in Ty Lue as their coach. And I believe in the players that they have. And when they're led by Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I think the Clippers could end up being a bigger threat than either Memphis or New Orleans to Golden State. I'm not, believe it or not, as much as Golden State has struggled, I'm not worried. All I keep telling everybody is when Clay becomes Clay, look out. Because I don't care what anybody say. This brother is lethal. And when he stops worrying about what people are saying and remembers he's a 4-time champion and one of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen and plays like that, along with Steph Curry. And I've been bringing up this Wiseman guy for a reason. I know he's in the G League, but let me tell you something. Jonathan Wiseman gives you anything. It changes everything for the Golden State, or rather returns things to what I suspect it will be. Golden State is going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be hell to reckon with if everybody's healthy.
I agree with you on the Clippers front because there is a trust factor here with Kawhi, certainly in the regular season, playing a certain amount of games and them getting the proper seeding and not being in the play-in game. In the playoffs, that's a 2.5-month stretch if you make it to the NBA Finals, where you're, for the most part, especially the first 2 rounds, playing every other day. And that can take its toll on your body. On the Warriors front, 2 things happen. Jonathan Kuminga has been excellent the last 2 weeks. That gives me hope for their bench. They moved Draymond Green to the second unit to start the second quarter, to be a facilitator, to be a playmaker. Their lineups have been much better off the bench. I want to go back to the Pelicans, though.
Sure, please.
I want to go back to the Pelicans.
Go ahead.
Because I don't think you can take them out, and I don't think you can take the Grizzlies out even with a healthy Kawhi. I think both these teams are that good. The Pelicans, the only team in the league after 26 games with a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. As you mentioned, they've been missing their second best player for a large part of that in Brandon Ingram. And the Memphis Grizzlies, who currently sit in second place right now, have missed Desmond Bane for the past 15 games. They were 9-3 with him in the lineup. We talked about this on Countdown about 2 weeks into the season. He looks like a legitimate star, that second star that Memphis was missing last year in the playoffs. He looks to be that second guy that can facilitate, create, play make in the half court. I have a hard time taking either of those teams out of the top 3.
I have a hard time. It's not easy. It's not easy. But I would take Memphis out before I take Pelicans out. Because I think that Zion is that X factor. He's just a man amongst boys, and what he brings to the table in the interior, I think it's too much for a lot of teams to handle. When it comes to Memphis, here's where my problem lies. And I listen, only thing I'm worried about with John Moran is his health. Because he plays violently per se. He's so athletic, he's so incredible. You just wonder, you're just worried about the twisted ankle, the ACL. You worry about all of that stuff. Zion, to a lesser degree as well. I don't like the way Zion lands. Every time he jumps and he comes out, I just don't like the way he lands. It just seems awkward, and his upper body seems so massive. I always worry about him getting hurt. But I'm going to tell you something about the rest of those guys on Memphis. And I love them. They got moxie. They can play. They got courage. They ain't scared of nothing. When you go up against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, see, we keep forgetting how they clamp down on you defensively. So what you're saying about those guys and what they can do, against ordinary people. But when those brothers are healthy enough to be on the court, they defend. And that's the reason why you got somebody like the Clippers going to the Western Conference Finals last year. And if Kawhi hadn't gotten hurt, they probably would have beat Phoenix.
2 years
and they
ago.
2 years ago, sorry. And they probably would have beat Phoenix, and they would have been in the NBA Finals. I look at the Clippers, and if Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are healthy, what you're saying about Memphis, I think that is a potential Achilles heel for them, going up against those brothers because they defend.
Yeah. I want to be clear on this because we did our preseason predictions on my podcast, and I had the Clippers second in the West.
Okay.
And again, that was
So
not knowing sort of how much time Kawhi would be on the court versus off the court.
Yeah.
And look, I think if they are healthy, if Kawhi is healthy and at some form of peak Kawhi, when we get to the spring and we get into the playoffs, then you can throw a fourth team in there, and that's the Clippers.
Okay.
And that's the separation to me of those four teams.
We can agree on that. We can agree on that. And again, every prediction that we're making, we're assuming health.
Of course.
We understand that if they injured,
and everyone's playing.
Yeah, you're assuming health.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Clippers beat the Boston Celtics last night. The best team in the NBA, and I know Warriors beat them the night before, but Kawhi Leonard ended up with 25 points. The most points he's had in about 500 days. I think that's what they're saying. So is this the return of Kawhi Leonard, what we are accustomed to? That has yet to be seen. I said this in the beginning, Clippers look scary on paper, and that paper people saw last night. 25 points held Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to 20 and 21 points. So the Clippers look damn good. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, including Charles Barkley, who's saying you can't just walk on a team and expect to be good chemistry. And here, that's 100% true, right? I'm not arguing that. I am arguing the fact that, you know, the amount of talent that this team has, the amount of good players in a, deep roster that they have is pretty phenomenal. The Clippers organization did a really good job in acquiring the necessary pieces to aid in that quest for a title. So they did that, and I know Boston, they got to get their stuff together 100% because, they lost to the Warriors. Warriors have not been playing that good. They lost us to the Clippers. Clippers have been playing okay, but obviously Kawhi Leonard had his best game in a long time last night with 25 points. So they look to today to steer the ship in the right direction when they take on the Lakers. But Clippers, they look damn good, right? And yesterday I made a post about the Pelicans. They're the number one in the Western Conference, but Clippers, I think they're number 6, I believe it is, and it could go even higher because if this team gels together and they play the right way, which they always do, right? Up and down, passing the ball pretty well. Ty Lue is their MVP coach. And if they play the right way, like as in no load management, 100% they play the rest of the games, and then they stand a good chance at making it to the conference finals at least. But still, I still think that Clippers will end up in the conference finals. Either them, the Pelicans, the Warriors. It could go either way, right? I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but all I know is when you got Paul George, he's not a leader, right? As in the best player on the team. He's the second best player, and that's what he's accustomed to doing. He fits that role better. Kawhi Leonard obviously is the best player on the team by far, and they have a supporting cast that will get the job done. So at the end of the day, I know I said Clippers are the most scariest team in the West. They just beat the best team in the NBA last night, and quite frankly, like I said, if they get their stuff together, this could be a very, very scary team for the entire NBA. Leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. What is the Clippers ceiling this year? Because Kawhi Leonard is back, and it looks damn good in LA, not the Lakers land, but the Clippers land. Leave a comment in the comment section. This is Jag from Jaggy Sports.